Come on. All right, let's get started. I'll leave you a few seconds so that you put your headset on, and then we start rocking. Okay. Let's go. So, well, if you're here, it's probably because you've at least studied or heard a bit about marketing, right? And when you study marketing, you learn that there are multiple ways to motivate human beings to do things, right? You can motivate people by, for example, providing them rewards, right? Love, money, etc. By offering some sense of ownership to something, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of, those are all positive ways of making people be motivated about something, right? This talk is not motivated by a nice way of handling things. It's animated by a spirit of revenge, and I will tell you why. A few months ago, but I still remember it, I was at a party with people I didn't really know, and I started chatting around, and at some point I sat next to a guy that we'll call Bob, because I don't remember his first name. And I start chatting with Bob, and Bob is like, yeah, blah, 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 I work in IT, I'm a developer, and I do this and this and that. And well, I also work in IT, so I ask him a few questions, and he's like, oh yeah, indeed, blah, blah, blah. And how do you know that? And I look at him and I say, well, actually, I also work in IT. And he says, oh, how come? What's your job? And I say, I'm a product owner. And he says, oh, that's really cool. And then he asks, what's the product you manage? And I say, oh, I'm the product owner for the marketing apps. And then I will forever remember his face. First he was a bit like puzzled, and then disappointed. And then he asked me like, wait, you guys have a product owner for the marketing apps? Those are so simple and useless, what's the point? So today I'm supposed to be doing a talk called What's New in Marketing, but I decided to take you all off stage for my revenge, and I decided to rename this talk, Yes, Bob, the Marketing Scope is Great. Brought to you by Luc Nellis, the marketing product owner. So, let's get started. The first question, very legit, is why would you use Odoo to handle your marketing, right? There's a lot of tools around, so why specifically Odoo? Well, the first point is that the Odoo marketing suite is there where you need it. And I think that's the biggest difference that you will find with any competitor. What I mean by that is that you don't have to think about integrations, about exporting data, about synchronization, about all those costly interactions between different systems, because your marketing tools are inside your ERP. They live along your orders, your leads, your subscriptions, etc., etc. So it's right there, and it's already integrated for you. And you don't have to, for example, I see a lot of companies that need to export their leads, and then they import it in a mass mailing tool, and then they send the images, and then when they receive replies, they need to encode it in another software. With Odoo, you're way out of this. You just have everything in the same package. It lives in the same ecosystem. Second point, well, since things are living in the same ecosystem, you can actually build systems where things interact together, right? Because we can provide the integrations for you, and that's something we always do. We try to think about flows that could be done in marketing. If you've played around with Odoo, you know the classic flow of like, I have a lead, then I create a sale order, it creates a delivery, and then an invoice, and then it goes into my accounting. So that's the classic logistics flows. We have a ton of flows like this also related to marketing, and it's possible because everything is inside your own system. Then, third point, well, since we have your data, right, it's all right there. This is the system you use to manage your company. Well, we can use everything related to those data. For example, we can take advantage of any filter, any value that you have, right? So all the fields that we have on the values there can be reused for your marketing campaigns. For example, if you want to target specific people, well, the data is all there. You want to send something to sale orders that meet a specific rule, well, you don't need to export those. You just tell Odoo, okay, I want those, and they're right here, the data is there, we can filter, and we can keep going. Better than that, maybe you've seen already the property fields, you can customize this database so that it really does fit your need. And those property fields can also be used to get a better targeting and to really pinpoint the people that you want to target with your campaigns. And we all know that the more a campaign is targeted towards a target, the better results you will have because it won't feel broad and generic. So let's have a quick look, right? Jump into Odoo and have a look at the different ways data flows and filters are managed. So this is my Odoo database. It's in version 17, and let's play around with email marketing. As I said, the main difference is that we are into your accounting, your sales, your CRM, etc. So when you create a mailing campaign, you see that as targets, you can target a lot of documents that are already there because people have been, for example, registering to your events. Well, your attendees are there. And all the values that you catch while they register, it's available for you. Same with the orders. You want to target people that have passed an order recently? Well, you don't have to find this somewhere in your sales software, then export it, and then push it into a mailing system. We have it live because, well, your sales are in Odoo, your marketing is in Odoo, they're already connected for you. And it goes on and on and on with a lot of different models, meaning you can create a lot of flows and take advantage of any data that you have. Now let's go further. Let's say I take some leads. I'll say hello here. When you take the leads, you see that you can also add some rules. So those are the filters. This is, I don't want to target all my leads of my database. What I want is to target some specific leads. And here, what you see here is not some filters that we define for you and that are limited. Those are all the different values that we have on the leads, all the fields. So if you want to target, for example, leads that have a specific job position, let's say that you catch this in your contact us form, you can do it. Even better, if you go into the properties, you will be able to use the properties that you created yourself. Let's say I'm a company that sells solar panels. Well, the roof size of my leads is really important because depending on that, I cannot give them the same offers. Normally, it's something that would need development or at least studio. With property fields, you can do it yourself without needing that, and then you can reuse these values to make your marketing campaigns. And it's nothing really tricky. When I have my lead here, you see I can just open the menu here, add some properties. I am customizing my system, and in a way, I'm preparing my marketing campaigns because based on this, I will be able to target specific people. Again, really far away from the costly interactions or import and exports. And it can really be brought really far because, for example, let's say you organize events, right? Here it is. So your business is events. Well, when you organize events, there are some people that come as attendees that are just not that interesting, but there's some people that really you want to catch while they register. So what we do is first we gather some basic information. For example, we can ask them questions while people register. If you register to the Odoo experience online, you probably fill that in. There we can ask you what's your name, your phone, etc. This is all completely flexible. If you don't need their email address, no need to ask. If you want to make sure, let's say I'm going to send them a text message as a reminder for the event, well, maybe I will say the phone question should be mandatory. I want to be sure that they each get a phone number. What's interesting is that from there, once people will register on the front end to my event, the form that you will have here will make sure that you do get a phone number. Here the registrations are closed. Let's open some new ones. Let's say end of November. There you go. Yep. So the start is there, the end is there. Let's do it like this. There we go. Okay. Now when I'm here, you see people register. When they register, they get all the questions. The questions can be like, what's your phone number? What's your email address? They can also be, how did you learn about us? They could also be, what's your industry? Why are you coming? Etc. This is all then stored on the attendee, meaning you can reuse that. Now that's interesting for the marketing, but let's push it further. Let's say that, well, those people, you want to make sure that we really run after them and make sure we focus on them. What you do then is you use the lead generation tools. Again, there's a ton of software that exists to manage your events and a ton of software that exists to manage your CRM. What we're doing here is both at the same time, meaning that we can create rules inside your system, such as, well, when someone registers to an event, if they meet a specific request, for example, a specific email address, a country, a ticket type, etc., then I want you to do something for me. I want to create some leads. And those will go straight into your CRM. And your salespeople, they will see, well, the person that registered here, I already have his phone number, his email, why he's coming, the business is in, etc., etc. And from there, they will be able to take on and maybe sell a few things, or at least get in touch with those. This is possible because we're inside an ecosystem. So this is those are a few examples, and then, as I showed you, on your event here, you can say, well, I want to automate some communication, and for example here, I would say, I will send them an SMS, so a text message, an hour before the event. I know I have their phone number, so they will receive it and they will remember about the event, which is, for example, very convenient for an online event that people tend to forget. Okay, so those are examples of things you can do. It means that you can have, for example, people that land on your website that register for an event. It creates leads. You target those leads with mailings. At the same time, your salespeople get in touch with those, and you're really creating a strategy that makes sense from A to Z, and where you're really taking advantage of everything you're catching. Okay, so that was about the different flows and filters. Now, what's really cool also is that the Odoo Marketing Suite is there how you need it. Because what we are providing is the editor that you probably saw, where you can create your own content. You can, for example, design your own templates, your own emails, etc. You've seen that we have quite a few options and quite a few templates. This one is a bit technical, but the users that have been using Odoo for a while will be happy about it. So a single database is now able to have different email domains, which means that if you have different companies, or if you do campaigns where you really want to make sure that people don't know that those people use the same system, you can do a campaign with like sales@mycompany.com and then sales@anothercompany.com. And those will be using different domains, and you will be able to catch those answers, meaning that you're really managing everything from a single place, even though for maybe your recipients, it looks like those are different companies. A bit technical, but if you are in a multi-company mode, it can be pretty useful. And then, of course, we are in 2023, so I need to say AI at some point during my talk. We are, of course, as you saw, we're integrated with ChatGPT, meaning that if you're struggling for ideas, if you're not sure how to write your mailing, you can always ask the bot. And it's a great start if you're looking for inspiration or if you want to improve your content. We can have a look at that. Okay. Let's check a bit what we can do in terms of content. Let's go here. My database seems to be, there you go, okay. Let's take the second one here. Okay, so you see this is, for example, some content that I have. I can work with that and I could change it. This is a standard template, but I could say, well, this is maybe too long, I want to make it shorter, or maybe I need a better opening, a better title, etc. The idea is you are always in charge of your content. We provide some templates, such as this one, but if you don't like it, if you want to tweak it, it's all yours. Then you can also save your templates if you want to, for example, create your own versions. For example, whenever I contact a lead, I want this sort of design, etc., etc. You can also do it, and you can see, for example, if I just leave it here, if I check, for example, I open a new database here, you will see this is a brand new database, so I'm not cheating, this is not something I prepared. You will see that you get, from the get-go, a few templates. There are here, there you go. So you see all those are for you to play around with, and maybe you won't like them and use them per se, but it gives you a good idea of what Odoo can do, and from there you can just tweak them to your taste. Okay. Then what's interesting with this idea of a single ecosystem is that you can count on Odoo whenever you really need it, because again, same ecosystem, same idea. You can rely on automations because Odoo has some automation built in, so automation plus marketing, you can do a lot of great things. It can be some punctual automations, or it can be something ongoing. We'll have a look at that. Well, at some point, customers may opt out, and it's okay, we need to respect that. But still, it's a moment where you have a chance to do something. So I'll show you a new feature that we have that maybe will help you get back a few of those. And then, channels are very important. So right from this version, you'll see that we integrated WhatsApp. The idea is that there's a lot of markets where emails are sort of has-been, and nobody uses email. They just have their smartphone and they use WhatsApp all the time, even for business. So now it's integrated within Odoo, and same thing, you don't have to do a lot of export and import. It's all there, and you can send your content from your database, again, taking advantage of what you have. Let's have a look. So you see, for example, here, let's go to this one. So my WhatsApp is here. The idea is Meta won't let you connect with any WhatsApp user out of the blue, right? Because otherwise, we would all be spammed with things coming from all over the place. So when you use WhatsApp, you need to create templates that get approved by Meta so that they make sure that the content you're sending is legitimate. For example, it's a content like, here is your order. Well, that's something that people would like to receive. It makes sense. So when you start with WhatsApp on odoo.com, you will have a few templates that we prepare for you that are already approved. If you want to go further, you can create your own templates and make them reviewed so that you can send the content that you want. The idea is it goes straight into their pockets, so it makes sense to make some effort so that you do get the content that you want. And once you're there, you see that, let's say I take a sale order here. It's not complicated to send a WhatsApp message. The button is always here. You see, whenever you have a phone number or business documents where it makes sense, you have the button here, which is a shortcut to your different templates. Your templates that have been approved, but of course, their values can be dynamic. It's not, you don't have to decide the amount in advance. You can say, here, dear customer name, here is your order reference for a total of that much. And from there, you can use it as soon as it's been approved everywhere in what you do. Now, I was speaking a bit about the opt-out. That's also that's a new feature that I really like. Let's see if I have an email here. So yeah, let's say I have this newsletter. It's a classic newsletter with a lot of text. And at the end of it, I have an unsubscribe button here. Let's open it in a new tab. So this is the link that people will get when they click on the opt-out. It used to be a bit weird because you, in past versions, you couldn't test it. Now you can test it yourself and make sure that it works and see how it looks like. What's really cool is that, well, we're not just a mailing tool, we're also a website builder, so you can customize that page. And for example, here, I gave it all I had. I put a picture of a dog that looks really sad, and I really hope that people would change their mind, right? They receive my email, they're like, yeah, I don't want to hear about them. They see this and they say, ah, yeah, maybe I'll give them a few more times. This is something that I did with the editor, pretty simple. You saw it, just drag and drop. And then you also have the classic mailing subscriptions below, where people can both unsubscribe from the news they don't want to get, but maybe they will be happy to learn about some new mailing lists that they didn't know about, where they would like to opt in. For example, the newsletter is too broad, and I don't really find it very interesting, but I really like economics, so I would like to subscribe to this one. So we started with a person that was a bit mad at us and not happy with the newsletter. And then through, for example, this design here or the list that we suggest, we can make sure that we still keep him around and keep that person thinking about us through updates that are relevant. So the idea is not to force them to stay with you forever. It's providing value because they only want to have updates about economics, for example. Okay. Automation is also something we always strive for because that's the beauty of it, is when you let the system work for you and you just don't have to worry about it. So two kinds of automation, I would say. Some are really punctual. For example, I want to have an email sent at this point. So for example, if I open the CRM here, you see that, well, I have my different stages with all my leads. But maybe I want to make sure that once the lead is qualified, I can add an automation through the button here. When my lead is qualified, I send them an email. Very simple. I know my salespeople won't think about it, so I automate it and it's done for me. It sends a beautiful email and I make sure I keep in touch with them. But I may want to go further. And for this, we have an app dedicated to this, which is called Marketing Automation. The idea is that it combines automation with the classic email builder. And from there, you can create your own campaigns with the different steps. What we added in this news version are those campaigns that are really great because it shows you a bit what Odoo can do and it gives you a place to start. For example, I could have a campaign called Double Opt-in, and if I want to use it, I just click on it, and I get the campaign. What is a marketing campaign? It's sort of a scheduled activity that will run all the time. And Odoo will check, for example, my mailing contacts all the time, and whenever there's a new one that matches this rule, so someone with an email address, not blacklisted, in the newsletter list, a participant will be created, and that person will go through a workflow that I define. And I have nothing to do from here. It will add participants, and it will execute all the activities. For example, here, the first activity would be, I send a confirmation email to that person to see if they really want to subscribe. It's sort of a double opt-in, but let's say a soft one. And then, if they clicked in the link, right, if they say, yeah, add me in, we have an action that adds them into another list, and we can see the list here. Those are just my mailing lists. Again, it's really something you can configure. You saw the one here, and maybe, for example, I have a confirm contact here. Those are the people that clicked to the link and that triggered this activity. Okay, so you can see from there, you can have campaigns that runs, for example, that target your leads, not all your leads, only the new ones that are from a specific country. What will it do? Send a few emails, wait a bit for a click, maybe do something else, etc., etc. So it's all possible because we're combining an email marketing tool, a website builder, some automation tools, and also all your business documents like sales order, leads, etc., etc. So if you ask me, like, okay, why should I manage my marketing with Odoo 17? I will say, well, the main reason to do it is because it's there where, how, and when you need it. So as a way to conclude, I would say, take that, Bob, and thank you. So we have, thank you. So we have a pad here that the link is there. You can scan the QR code. It will lead you to a pad where you can write your questions. If you have longer questions or a lot of questions, we never know. The talk just afterwards is Ask Me Anything related to the marketing. So we can discuss whatever you want for the next minutes. I'm here. Maybe any questions from the pad already?
Yeah, thank you very much, Luke. As Luke said, and in case you don't know, there's going to be an AMA, not after this session, but after that one with Luke and a business analyst. So if you want, I think I'll get closer to you.
Yeah.
They can't hear me well. Yeah, there's an AMA session after, not after the session, but the next one. For now, I'll read you some of them. The first one is it possible to set an activity in marketing automation workflow on a certain date?
So the idea is that you're not going to pinpoint a specific date. What you will have is something a bit floating because you want it to be triggered at the right time for each person. So you will say, for example, once I get an order that's confirmed, 3 days later I schedule an activity, for example. And it will be not a specific date, like not today. It will be depending on where they start the campaign workflow, some different moments. But you can define indeed the windows if you want.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The next one is, can you send an autoresponder email within 1 minute?
Within 1 minute, it sort of depends a bit of the mailing configuration because sometimes even if we have everything right, the servers just take their time. But you could indeed say, well, when I get a reply, actually I can just jump into the triggers. When I'm into marketing automation and I'm configuring my workflow, you see I have different triggers. It can be after an activity, if people open the email or not, if they reply or not, if they click or not, or if it bounces. The bounce is great if you want to clean your list automatically, but you could say, yeah, if they reply, as soon as we catch the reply in the database, we send another message, for example. Yeah.
So after One is any news regarding social marketing.
Yeah, so social marketing evolved a bit, mostly because we had to follow the market, and Twitter, for example, they changed the policy, etc. But I would say if you really want to see changes in social marketing, you should wait a bit because it's probably something we'll work on in the future. For now, we were on other apps, but now social marketing is, I think, the next in the roadmap.
Well, one is, and I'll get closer to you, can you explain, demo in more details how the opt works, or OPT works? How do we have a global output, I guess. They're still editing. I'll go on to the next one and come back to this one.
Okay.
How would you manage scheduled emails, for example, birthday based?
Birthday base is better to use some other tools because this one is not really specific. I would use rather Studio, because in Studio I can show you quickly. If I take your lead and I open Studio, with Studio you can create some automation, as we said, that is more punctual, and so this will help. If I create something here, a rule here, I can pick as a trigger normally based on timing condition based on the date field. So if I have the birthday as a date field, I can use that as a trigger, and Studio will constantly check if there are some people whose today is a birthday and then trigger the action. Yeah.
One is talking about dashboards. Is there any marketing dashboard to have a global view of all the different campaigns?
Yeah, sure. So I didn't show a lot of reporting because it's more, it's a bit further down the pipe, but it's there. And what's interesting and that I really like, it's again because it's a unified system, but say you you post a tweet promoting a product, since you're doing it with your ERP, when people click on it and they land on the e-commerce and they buy a product, we can track it and say, well, that person came from that tweet. Meaning that we can tell you, well, this tweet brought this much money or this many sales. This is because, again, it's a single system, so we can track the person around.
Excellent. Have there been any improvements on promotion campaigns? For example, certain percentage on each fifth product?
I think, so it's not in my scope, it's the sales scope, but I think they did improve it because they got a lot of feedback. But it's better to check at the booth there with the team because I didn't work on that.
Okay, perfect. Going back to the first question that they were still typing, meant if you can explain or demo in more details how the opt-out works. It says, how do we have a global opt-out and how to manage opt-out for specific campaigns, mailing lists.
Okay, so the opt-out is mostly for the mailing contacts. So when you have a mailing contact here, a mailing contact can follow a different mailing list, right? They can be subscribed to different lists, and we always check if they decided to opt out or not. By the way, we also check when they did it. So when you send an email to a mailing list, if we see that people opted out, we remove them from the recipients. And if later on they come back, for example, through the page that I showed, then they will be accepted by the next campaigns and will be taken into account.
One in the past, in outgoing emails were usually marked as spam. Has this been addressed and corrected in this version?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things at play here. This is mostly due to the server reputations, so that's the first thing. And if you're serious about marketing and you really send a lot of big campaigns, I would suggest always have different mail servers. Some that you use, for example, for business documents like invoices, sales order, etc. And for the things that are more, for example, newsletter oriented, etc., I would use a specific server where if something goes wrong, at least people still get their orders and invoices, etc. Now, there are a lot of things to do right when you configure it, because indeed, if, for example, you pretend to be someone else while using a server that uses another address, then the inbox will say, this looks weird, and will go into the spam. We've improved that a lot, especially in the configuration of the outgoing servers. Now you can really decide which one will be used with different domains and really filter, for example, when someone with this address sends an email, I use this server because it matches and it makes sense for the inbox. But if it's someone from another company, maybe we use another server with another configuration, etc. Actually, like if you do something that looks a bit shady, you might look like spam. So what we do is we align everything. But by the way, now that I think about it, I think there are like 1 or 2 talks about email deliverability. Got it? Where they really go through this during like 2 talks of how do you get it right, how do you configure it, what do you need to make sure that it's not seen as spam.
Perfect.
Yeah. Maybe I guess we can have a break here before the Ask Me Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.